everyone and welcome! I had this thought in my head for a while now. When you look for League of Legends news, no one is covering it. Sure, you have a lot of people that show you what popped up on PTR. Whenever a new skin, game mode or a champion gets released, there are hundreds of channels talking about it. But I couldn't find a single channel that would seriously cover what's new in both League of Legends and in Riot. There is so much more to talk about than what you can find on PTR. Riot's Nexus posts and replies on board posts hold a lot of interesting updates. For example, every league channel covered Blitzcrank's leaked skins. Everyone talked about what they look like, what they do, and the splash art. But only very few dived into why these skins are so special, because all that information was later revealed by Riot on Nexus. And unfortunately, not a lot of people read Nexus posts. And that's what I want to try today. I know that people are lazy when it comes to reading, even if it is something genuinely interesting. So instead, I'll show you what Riot's been cooking in a more consumable way. Since this is pretty old, let me quickly show you why the new Blitzcrank skins are so special. All the visual credits go to Skin Spotlights here. During the development of this new skin, Riot couldn't decide what kind of a serious skin they want to give to Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank already had a lot of silly skins, but not a single one that would be grim. So when it comes to choosing the visuals for a skin, they have to look at the champion's core features first. For Blitzcrank, it was his hook. That's where this image of hook ideas came from. These were the concepts that inspired the final form. They wanted his hook to feel dark and scary, so it feels like something is gonna go wrong if it lands. But to achieve it, you need to complement it with something lighter. And that's how the idea for a light version of the Dark Lancer was born. And here is why these skins could be revolutionary for Riot. The reason why they were able to make two skins at once was because they could copy the assets from one skin to the other. The Dark Lancer Blitzcrank had his own rig and animations, and because the Light Lancer would use the same theme, they could just copy everything and give him a different model. This means that both skins would have higher quality animations while making them feel different. So if this works out, Riot could produce more skins with higher quality animations, simply by taking them from some of their previous work. So while to us these skins are just another 1300 RP to spend, to Riot this is a nice experiment for the future. But now let's go into more current news. Choose the next Illaoi skin voting has ended. We currently still don't know the results, so if anything changes it will be in the description. There was a Reddit straw poll to give us a rough guess of the winner, and it seems like the deep space concept might win. Which is nice, I voted for it. Riot Games merch store noted on Facebook that in 1 week, the biggest merch event of the year will arrive. This will include the last limited edition release of the year. Unfortunately, China is a little bit ahead, so we already know what's coming. The limited release seems to be the Maokai, which I must have. But we also get Taric, Ziggs and the unlocked edition of Zed. And 3 more plushies, Kindred, Gnar and Rengar. All of these are coming on November the 20th. Riot Cactopus made a board post regarding the new leveling system. And this post contains a lot of graphs. He started by answering some of the concerns the community had. For example, you may have noticed that you don't get nearly as much blue essence as you used to get IP. So, to give us a more reliable source of blue essence, first win of the day will now give you less XP but more blue essence. Before the change it gave us 575 XP. Now it will give us only 400 XP but 50 blue essence on top of it. Then Cactopus dived deeper into the numbers behind the leveling. It seems like even though you need more XP to level up, the leveling is still faster. In the old system, it took the players an average of 178 games to reach level 30. The new leveling system gives us more XP per game and the first win of the day bonus. So, depending on how much you utilize this bonus, you may reduce it down to 152 games. So leveling now is much faster. When it comes to rewards, we learned that leveling from level 1 to 30 does not give us random loot. In fact, here is a chart of all the rewards and blue essence you get per level. It seems that the core champions are now Ashe, Garen and Brand. When it comes to leveling past level 30, a whole new system got implemented. It used to be that every time you reached a level milestone, which is every 25 levels, The XP required dropped and it became easier to level up again. But the higher level you were, the higher overall XP you needed to level up. But since this would scale infinitely, at one point leveling up would be like seeing a unicorn. So Riot scrapped this idea in the favor of Overwatch style leveling. Just like in Overwatch, every milestone cycle in League has the same XP requirement. So no matter how high your level is, reaching the next 25 levels will always take the same time. This is indicated by the orange line on this graph. And last but not least, we have the blue essence and IP graphs. These are not that interesting, so let's just quickly mention them. Basically, you get more blue essence than you would get IP in the new system. But the more you play, the more even it becomes. That's because the first win of the day is affecting it. But since blue essence has a different value than IP, because you can now buy cosmetics for it few times a year, it is hard to compare their values. Riot also released another Ask Riot where they answered 3 community questions. What method or criteria do you use to choose which champion gets the victorious skin each year? This question was of course in reaction to the victorious Graves. First, Riot has to make a list of potential candidates. These are chosen based on their impact on competitive and pro play. Then they have to narrow it down. There are 5 rules they listed. Number 1, if a champion already has a victorious championship or conqueror skin, they won't qualify. As an example, Karma was a candidate but she already has a conqueror skin. Number 2, they don't want to make multiple victorious skins from the same role. Last year we had a top laner, so this year they avoided it. Number 3, if they have another skin for that champion coming out soon, they don't want to overload it. Other champions would benefit from having another skin. Number 4, if they have a very small number of skins, they won't give it a victorious skin. And this makes sense. This would make people feel like they have to get it because there simply aren't options. And those who can't get it will feel awful. And number 5, if they have a big balance change coming, they want to avoid it. This is because the skin is in works 6 months before its release. So if they think that the champion won't fit in the meta in 6 months, they might as well avoid it. And that's how we got Graves. He didn't have other skins coming and he was simply always part of the meta in some shape or form. Why are some spells like Cyan Knockup, Nunu Ult, Zillion Bomb and so on invisible to the enemy when cast from a bush while other similar AoE spells are not? The answer is very simple. Look at the trade-off. For some champions these abilities have very large cooldown, and if they miss they are at objective disadvantage. Cyan has to charge his spell in advance. If he somehow hits you, he gets the advantage during his engage. But if he misses, he is very vulnerable. Same for Nunu. Yes, his ultimate is invisible while he's in a bush, but if he fails, the consequences are huge. This is basically huge risk, huge reward kind of scenario. Then there is someone like Xerath. His Qs are visible even when cast from a bush. That's because if they were invisible, you'd be taking never-ending unavoidable damage. That would simply be unfair. I do prefer the new honor system. It's great. That being said, I miss being able to honor an opponent. It's a respect thing. If you can bring it back to the game at one point, I think people would like it. Have a good day. This is a question a lot of people asked since the very first day. And honestly, I agree with Riot here. Basically, the reason why you can't honor an opponent is because the focus should be on your teammates. In the past, honoring was split into 2 categories, honoring friendly players and honoring the enemy. Riot felt like it would be an easier choice if you could only honor friendly players. If the enemy is an honorable player, they will get a vote from their players anyway. Also, during the testing phase, players felt like the honor screen was crowded when the enemy appeared there as well. So, to make it as simple and appealing to honor as possible, Riot left only friendly players there. And that's pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed this format of news. I'd like to cover more of this behind the scenes that Riot is releasing and no one's reading. So, all feedback is appreciated. And to wrap this up, I'll leave you with the newly released project login screen which indicates that the new game mode is coming soon. So thank you and come again.